Hi, everyone. My name is Candice Lynch, and along with Morgan Swann and Alyssa Tang, we did our project on the mood economy. Every day, millions of people around the world vote on how they feel, not in polls, but in their music selections, what they decide to play. We wanted to know, what do a country's most streamed songs reveal about its emotions and happiness? And could we even use that music to tell you where to travel? We'll walk through our research questions, data, and methods, and then give you a live demo of our dashboard. Our goal was twofold. First, explore what global listening habits reveal about emotion and happiness around the world. Second, build a dashboard that lets both casual and data savvy users draw their own insights, including a feature that turns your personal music mood into suggested travel destinations. Our core data was the Spotify Top 50 charts across 73 countries. We measured each country's musical mood using three audio features: valence, which is how emotionally positive a track sounds; tempo, the speed and energy of the music; and speechiness, how much spoken word or rap style vocal content it had. We then enriched that with World Happiness Report scores, GDP per capita, and a data set of popular versus non popular songs. So we could explore geographic and emotional patterns side by side. Everything we did was guided by four main research questions. I'll turn it over to Morgan so she can take it from here.
Thanks, Candice. Our four research questions map one-to-one onto the four dashboards you'll see in the demo. Research question 1. How does the emotional profile of popular music vary across all countries? This will be answered by the World Mood Map. Research question 2. Is a country's musical valence related to its happiness? This will be answered by the happiness paradox. Research question 3. Does the national wealth correlate with the country's musical mood? This will be answered by our GDP analysis within the Research question 4. Can we suggest travel suggestions based on personal music preferences? This will be answered by the travel matcher. The first is descriptive, the second and third are statistical, and the fourth is an application question. Can we actually build it? You'll see the answer live. Our workflow has three phases: data prep, analysis, and application design. For data prep, we started for our research questions gathered, candidate data sets, sketched the dashboards we needed, and filtered out what didn't serve them. We joined the Spotify chart with the happiness GDP data on country name, then aggregated valence, tempo, and speechiness to give a country a single musical profile. For analysis, we ran descriptive comparisons of national music profiles, linear regression, testing whether happiness and GDP predict musical characteristics, a comparative analysis of hits versus non-hits, and a similarity model that computes country matches from weighted differences in musical features. And for application design, we built 4 connected Tableau dashboards with filters, parameter controls, dynamic rankings, and song level driven down with consistent palette and page navigation throughout. Before any of that could happen, though, we had to design it and find the right data. Alyssa?
Thank you, Morgan. Before building the final dashboards, we started with rough sketches and early prototypes to clarify what each visual needed and how users would move through the application. The sketches helped us test the basic layout and identify the most important measures. It also helped us decide which datasets were best to use and what interactions would make the data easiest to explore. We then translated those ideas into early Tableau prototypes and refined them based on readability, navigation, and consistency. In fact, the middle prototype is what made us realize we had insufficient data to properly present that style and pushed us into our final global map style. So prototyping was a large part of our process. And the final visuals kept the original analytical goals, but focused more on improving the structure, color palette, labeling, and user flow so the application would work for both casual users and more data-oriented users. This involved a lot of fine-tuning and small adjustments. Now, going over the description of our datasets, we combined 4 public datasets. Our primary one was top Spotify songs, and it used 73 countries, and this was from Kaggle, and it contained daily snapshots of each country's top 50 plus the global chart. The audio features attached to each track were what let us quantify a country's musical mood. You can see some sample rows here with the valence, tempo, and speechiness for every song. Next, we use the World Happiness Report, which is the country-level self-reported life satisfaction score. It uses the Cantrell ladder, which is a 0 to 10 scale where people rated their own lives. And this combined with our third data set, which was GDP per capita from the World Bank too. And that was an indicator of our national economic prosperity. And then our final data set was another Spotify popular versus non-popular data set, which compared high and low popularity tracks and had the same audio characteristics as the other Spotify data set. And this is what powers our hit formula analysis. Now, Candice is going to give us a live demo of our dashboard.
Thanks, Alyssa. Instead of showing you screenshots, we're going to walk through the actual dashboard live. It is published on Tableau Public, and the link is on the previous slide so you can explore it yourself after the presentation. Here we have our landing page, a clean starting point for every user, whether they're a casual music fan or data analyst. From here, you can reach all 4 dashboards: our world mood map, the happiness paradox, the traveler matcher, and then the hit formula. Every page shares this navigation, so you're never more than one click away from anywhere else in the app. I'll now pass it over to Morgan to review our world mood map.
All right. First, the world mood map. This answers our first research question: how does the emotional profile of popular music vary across countries? Each country is shaded by the average valence of its top 50 most streamed songs, valence being how emotionally positive a track sounds from 0 to 1. Lighter means the song is sadder, darker means the song is happier. So now if we hover over Mexico, Mexico sits at the top of our range with an average valence of 0.674. If we now hover over to Indonesia, Indonesia anchors at the other end at 0.374. That's a spread of 0.3, nearly a third of the entire scale. So musical mood is genuinely different across markets. It's not globally uniform. Now we just select a random country. Selecting a country updates the bar chart on the right-hand side with the actual songs driving its profile, sorted by popularity with title, artist, and each track's valence. Casual users can just explore the map. Data-savvy users can drill down to the individual songs. If you find a song that you would love to listen to, you can click the Tableau and it will link you to Spotify. So countries clearly sound different, but do happier countries sound happier? Alyssa will show us next within the happiness paradox.
Thank you, Morgan. This is the dashboard that we call the happiness paradox. The scatter plot tests our second research question, which is a country's musical valence related to its happiness? Each dot is a country plotted by the World Happiness Report score against its average musical valence. And as you can see, there's basically no pattern. The trend line is nearly flat, although it's slightly negative. Our regression confirmed is not statistically significant, so how happy a country says it is tells you almost nothing about how happy its music sounds. One other thing is that we made each country's point a color based on their GDP, so we can very clearly tell there is a trend where happier countries tend to have higher GDPs. And for casual users, we have the musical mood output. It turns any selected country into plain language summary of its music mood, no statistics degree required. So while happiness may not predict your music, maybe your music can predict your next vacation. Candice?
Thank you, Alyssa. This is one of my favorite dashboards that we created, the Traveler Matcher. It answers our fourth research question: can we suggest travel destinations based on personal music preferences? It flips the whole data set around. Instead of asking what a country's music says about it, based on the music you love, where in the world would you feel at home? You set your preferred musical mood with 3 controls listed at the bottom: tempo, rap factor, and vibe. I'm going to go ahead and adjust the tempo up high, maybe for some dance music. Maybe I wouldn't want too much talking, maybe moderate. And then I'll keep the vibe up high. As you can see, the actual data shifts completely live and shows which countries you should probably visit. Additionally, we have these mood markers on the left. If you want to go to a place that's more euphoric, our data actually shifts and shows Mexico's #1 for that, while Egypt maybe won't be the best. Instantly, you get this ranked list of matching countries, and that would be your recommended travel spot. Now, after the recommendations are changed, we did notice that we were able to successfully answer our fourth research question. Yes, we were able to see where you can travel based off of your preferences. Now I'm going to pass it over to Morgan to show our hit formula.
So finally, the hit formula is steps away from geography and asks, do hit songs share an audio signature that non-hits don't? Now looking at the box plots here, these box plots compare the distributions of valence, tempo, and speechiness for high popularity versus low popularity tracks. You can see where they overlap and where they separate, which is actually what distinguishes a hit. Now, when we drill down to what is a hit, for users who want specifics, you can drill into individual top performing tracks and see exactly where they land on each feature. All right, that's the tour of our dashboard. 4 dashboards, 1 data set of what the world presses play on. Back to the slides for our results and conclusion.
So, what did we find? First, music preferences really do vary across countries. People in different parts of the world tend to listen to different types of music. Second, we found that happier countries don't necessarily listen to happier music. And then third, wealth does carry some signal. GDP was significantly related to valence, tempo, and speechiness. Richer countries streamed slightly sadder, faster, and less speech-heavy music. But the relationships were modest. GDP explained only 6 to 13% of the variation. And fourth, yes, our weighted similarity model successfully converts a user's inputted mood preferences into ranked travel matches, as you just saw live. The big picture, global listening behavior differs sharply across countries, but happiness and wealth only partially explain musical mood. Thank you for watching.